just went.
I remember that because I was just like,
that room went silent. It was just like,
everybody was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, you should have turned around and be like, oh, everyone, we have a live band as well.
Surprise!
Surprise! Yeah, they're going to be a little bit loud, so I'm sorry.
Just got somebody who's just like giving the awards and say in first place.
Yeah, it's boring, isn't
it's
it? It's
Dan
like the Oscars.
Jenkins.
Yeah.
And then Dan walks up and everybody's just like,
Yeah.
it's not. It's
no
not.
one would clap if I won.
Cheat! Cheat! Hi everyone, and welcome to the Warm Podcast. We're your hosts, Jack
And Dan?
and today we have a very special guest, Ricky from Majority T3.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks.
We're so glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about what is Majority T3, where the name came from and what it is that you guys do.
Yeah. So we started off as you say guys, it's just me.
Yeah.
It has been for a long time.
Right.
But I've got a partner now who invested in some terrain and stuff like that. But when I first started, I just I went to a couple of events and I was like, I could do this so much better than everybody else because I'm a massive narcissist, unfortunately.
Is that a competitive mindset?
Yeah. And so I did a 30 man, then I did a 60 man, then I did a 100 man.
You started with a 30-man event.
Yeah. RTT, and then did a 60 man GT, and so basically just been running events since like 7th edition.
Nice.
And like it's been a lot of investment and stuff like that, but we've been doing it for so long, and like
and you basically created a tournament scene in the northeast. We didn't really have much going on.
No, not at all. So I went to like Battle Bunker in Sunderland, which was great, but the guy was. I don't want to talk shit. Sorry, can I swear?
Of course you can,
yeah. So I don't want to talk shit about him, but he was just a bit slack, and like he didn't make good business decisions, and so that was where I went for my tournament scene. And then once that died off, I was just like, well, there's nothing here. Like, let's do something, because there's so many players, like yourselves, and and like there's people who come to my tournaments week after week, and it's just like, oh, these people want something, and it's just not here. And like even when I talk to like the guys from like lower down the country and stuff like that, and like Zach from LGT and stuff like that, he was just like, he goes, oh, can I run a tournament in Newcastle? Because there's nothing happening there ever. And I was just like, nah, I'm gonna do it.
Secretly like, no, fuck off. No, that is brilliant. Yeah, because I mean, you mentioned like there's not like the people that there's lots of people that come to these kind of tournaments. I mentioned to you before there that I mean I've met some of my friends who I work with at your tournaments, and I'm just like, wait, you play?
Yeah, exactly.
Even in the northeast, it's just good to see lots of people come.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a captive market. It sounds terrible because I'm making a bit of money off it.
Oh yeah,
but
it's
a good thing that I want to do. It's why I play in them as well, because I'm just like, I need a tournament. I need a tournament like once a month, and it's great.
Yeah.
And I used to I've been to Gibraltar. I've been to like London, Manchester, everywhere, just to like get me fix sort of thing. It's just nice to have something local, and especially like the RTT side of things, because you get like guys who have got kids and a wife and everything. They can't take the time out, and then they're just going, oh, I'm free on Sunday, and I go, I can play 3 rounds of 40k, and it's just like it's a good thing. That
is crazy. That's really good.
That's the thing with Battle Bunker, when it was up and running, it was great, because now I'd just be like, right, that's my Saturday books, and two weeks time I'm there, it's gonna be great. It's 30 quid in, and then I just get to see all my friends and play some 40k, and as soon as that went, I was just like, wow, this is such a void that needs filled, So,
and do you get your fix as well, do you?
Yeah.
Like as well, so you're still playing your tournaments, don't you?
Yeah, I try.
See,
it's against our friend Dan in the
destroyed him.
The last one,
It's like that turn 3 switch that I was talking about before. That's what happened in our game, because in turn 2 he called the war and just absolutely rinsed me whole arm, and I was standing there just like, oh my god, I've knocked this, and then as soon as I dropped a few units back, and then just put Magnus in the middle, and I was just like, and I killed like
time for me to war.
I killed like 600 points of his army, and I was just like, oh, I've got this.
It's funny as well, because
terrible.
I always go up to, obviously we all go up to each other at the end of the game and ask like, how was it? He just like 100-yard stare. And he's like, Yeah, it was good.
really enjoyed myself. Yeah,
It was shaking. It was very funny.
It was really good. He's a good lad. He's a big magic man as well.
He is. Yes, he plays a lot of Magic, Gavin. Yeah. I know. Again, destroys me at that as well.
Yeah,
so I'm not very good. But
excellent.
Yes.
Before we go much further, we've got a little game for you to play along with at home if you're listening or watching. It's a bit like that TV show Would I Lie to You, but we've got 3 stories about Ricky, and I'd like you to try and guess which ones are true. So story 1 is he posed nude to relaunch the Northeast Open, our GT. Number 2, he used to pretend to be a businessman to rent tournament venues. And number 3, his mum helps him run his events. So we'll come back to those in a bit. Let us know which ones you think are true. In the meantime, we've already covered.
Really you're laughing about this already. Yeah. He's just like, oh, no.
It's really good.
Yeah,
we've covered a bit about what made you want to start your own events. One of the things I wanted to cover was that your events have a very different vibe, I think, to most 40k events. Like a bit like you said, without sounding arrogant, that you understood you could do it better, and they do hit a bit different, your events.
Yeah.
And was that like something deliberate that you set out to do? Very
much so. That's the thing. So the reason I started running was because I went to LGT, and I love Zach. He's a composite businessman. He's fantastic, right? Yeah. But I went to the LGT where it had the styrofoam terrain.
Oh, the worst ever.
The worst ever 40k event that's ever been. And no one remembers it now.
Yeah.
And I went in, and like me and Dean got stopped at the door, and they searched a whole box full of models. For weapons or food, right? Right? And the guy found a Snickers bar in Dean's pocket. And he goes, you can't bring that in. He was just like, Dean was just like, what? He goes, it's a Snickers? And he goes, no, need outside food in the venue. He goes, you've got to buy it when you're in there. And like the food was outrageously costed because it was London. It was the Olympic Stadium, and I was mostly on table 50 or downwards because I wasn't very good at the time. It was my first ever tournament,
right?
Okay.
And I was on table 50 or under, and we were in this like tiny room. Ceiling was like I could touch it. So and I'm a short guy. And I was just like, this is packed in. It was boiling hot, like horrible.
Balls on the window as well. So
and then playing on a styrofoam terrain. I had a great time. I met loads of like really nice people and stuff like that. But then we got away from that, and I was like, I could do this so much better. I was like, this is if this is the bar that's been set by the biggest tournament, because it was the biggest tournament in the UK, possibly apart from Vegas, it was the biggest tournament in the world, second biggest tournament in the world. And I was just like, if this is the bar that they've set against, I could smash this.
So, you're already off-putting with there, getting your food taken away from you.
It was super weird. It was super weird.
I mean, the Northeast Open UK, you had on like the full Ringmasters jacket.
Yeah, that was very funny.
Confetti cannons going off.
That's part of the thing. Because I'm like I said, the reason I'm trying to do it is I'm trying to make it like something that's fun and bigger, It's
almost like a show kind of thing.
That's how I think it's meant to be, though. It's meant to be like a celebration of your hobby. Because like if you put me in like a sports hall, and then you've just got somebody who's just like giving the awards and say, in first place it's Dan Jenkins, and then Dan walks up and everybody's just like, it's not.
No one would clap if I won.
But I think it's good to make something bigger of it. You know?
You're right though, because it also brings that like kind of relaxedness to it. Because when people come to tournaments, they might be a bit nervous. Again, they might be the first one that they go to.
Yeah.
So that kind of like atmosphere just kind of settles everyone. And it's just
totally.
like it gets them in the mood, and it's a bit more fun opposed to I'm here to win, opposed to I'm actually here to have fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
nice difference.
It's the same thing, because when I walk into it's daunting. If you walk into a sports hall, there's no music, and everybody's just standing around at their tables and stuff like that. And you're on table 2000 and it's right down there. And you're just like,
gets darker and darker as you get down there.
But then like a nice like a bit of an intro, get everybody relaxed and stuff like that. Put some music on, walk around, talk to people and stuff like that. I think it's
more of a social element, wasn't it?
Yeah. But really I think that's the like the question was what's the difference for my events, and it is deliberate that I want people to feel like they're welcome, you know. And I don't like there's not many events that I've been to where I actually feel like that.
When I went to Warhammer Fest, I do suffer occasionally from anxiety, and I got it was the first big tournament. I hadn't really realised how anxious I was, and when I'm anxious, I tend to fixate on something I can control, and it was my beard. So I'm like, right, well, I want my beard to look good. So I oiled my beard, and it wasn't right. I oiled it again.
Yeah.
And I caked it in so much oil, and that I, like during the event, I kept like touching it, and then touching my phone, and my phone got like a quarter of an inch of oil on the side. It stopped working. I couldn't use my phone for the last 48 hours.
Wait, didn't your phone
like
break?
that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why it was broken.
Oh my god, he couldn't get home. His train ticket was on
I
there.
had to get a lift back from him because I couldn't access my train ticket. But I'm not
That's
alone.
how anxious you were.
Yeah, but I'm not alone now. I think a lot of us can like that, and I think
it's
the
a hobby
contrast
for us.
between that and going to your event. I immediately was like, I felt comfortable.
Yeah.
Especially for me, because when I went there, I was obviously using the app one of the very first times. The BCP app, and obviously getting on there, checking what table I'm on, having that social element at the start kind of helped me relax to then be like, I was really struggling, so I was like, oh, excuse me, would you mind just giving us a hand? Out, and someone was very helpful, and I think just having that nice atmosphere just.
It makes a difference because it has for me, because that's what it used to be like at Battle Bunker before it closed. Like it was the same 30 people every week, and it was just like a group. It felt like by the end of it, it felt like just a group of friends.
Yeah.
And that's what I try and do with every event that I do. Even if it's 100 man, I still try and make everybody feel as welcome as possible, because I know what it's like. You know, like I'm a confident guy, and like I'll have a laugh and stuff like that. But inside, I'm like a bit anxious about things, and you do, and it's super daunting, especially if it's like your first one. You're just like, oh well, I'll play with this. I've been beating me 5 friends for like 2 years now. I should probably try competitive. And then the first guy you play is just an absolute genius and just smashes you. Just like, oh, I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Your confidence gets knocked so much. Well, I think we had that because we called it like the bubble meta around us. Like, we played ourselves so much, and then first time I went to, I was like, my list is beautiful. It's brilliant. Just get smashed game on. I'm like, what have I done wrong? Like, is it me?
Because you tailored a list to beat like orcs and chaos.
Exactly.
And then you get out into the big wide
big leagues.
This was the problem before LGT. I went to a local one that was run by Newcastle Warlords.
Oh yeah.
And I came 3rd there, and that was my first like actual tournament. And I was just like, oh, I am a god at this. When LGT, when LGT, I was getting beat off people who just didn't have a clue. Just such an amazing list, and I just like, right, I just take that off.
Oh, that is amazing.
It's a good eye opener when you go to like a big one, because it's terrifying.
There's definitely, it is a steep. I don't think there's any way around that. It's a steep curve, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not. It shouldn't be as daunting as some people think. Like you just have to. Once you've been spanked a couple of times and you realise it's not the
you realise that you're not a god at the game, and like there's always somebody better.
Well, we've talked about that, like, when you go into these kind of tournaments, don't go there specifically to be like, I'm going to go there to win.
No,
like,
not at all.
I'm here to go through, X, Y, Z. No, just go there and have fun.
Yeah,
play
exactly.
the list that you enjoy. Don't worry about what you're going to do, and just have fun.
Learn.
I think that's the problem why people get tilted these days, because they go in with an expectation that, oh, I'm gonna like beat everybody and like I've been playing since 7th edition, right? Now I know the game very well, like, because it doesn't change much.
No,
it's all about the movement phase. It's all about like positioning and trading like unit for unit, and like somebody will come in and they'll just be like, oh I've won this tournament, I've won an RTT here, and they're just like, oh, I'm gonna beat this guy, and I'm just like, nah, you're probably not. Like, I'm no, and they go, oh, when did you start playing? They're like 9th edition. I was just like, right.
Well, I sometimes I almost feel bad, because like I've played a few games where like the opponent's like, oh, so is this like your first tournament? And like I've been beating him and I win, and he's like, oh, so how many tournaments you play? I'm like, oh, it's my second one. And then they're like, oh, and I'm like, oh, how many? And they're like, oh, yeah, 64th. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, man. Like, well,
I think it helps having our friend groups like quite competitive. Like, the first time I turned up, I was like told it was quite casual. Brought a really casual off-meta Necron list, and you were playing tuners at the time, and absolutely
for a bit of fun.
In about 2.5 turns. Like, all right, okay.
It's the same, but it's the same with the majority T3 team, because there's like 5 or 6 of them. There used to be like 20 at one point. We came 11th in the UK one year, like getting the points, but we stopped going to events because it's just too much money and travel these days. It's massive.
Running your own tournament as well is a bit of a time sink.
When we were actually like, when that was like 19, 15, somewhere around that number of we just like, it was just like, right, I'm going to bring the worst list possible. And just like, yeah, I'm going to do the same, right? And just absolutely smash each other. So you get like practice games, you get like 4 in a day, because it was just like turn 2, it was just like, table.
Yeah. Oh, that happens. Class. One of the things I was going to actually ask you was, during your events, what's the biggest challenges that you've had kind of setting up the events?
There's so many. you might have heard, because this is like a tournament myth,
right,
from years ago, and it was when we did it at the Anarchy Brewery, the double book with the band.
Right, yes. I remember
for a G. Were you there?
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
It was actually, I'm glad you're here. I want a refund on that one.
That's why we invited you on.
Yeah, I'll give you like 50% off in the next ticket. But that was possibly the biggest challenge. Yeah. I mean, when we did the first NEO, it was massive, and I just did that by myself as well, so I didn't have like any support at all. So 100 man, and the food didn't turn up. We had a hog roast booked, and what the guy does, he just comes up with the hog and just like cuts slices off it and feeds people. And I text him on at 11:45, and I was like, "Are you setting up outside, mate?" And he was just like, "Oh, I thought you meant next August next year."
No,
I was just like, God. "Oh my god,
next year as well."
I was just like,
"That's some difference."
I was just like, "Are you for real?" Just looking at the text, I looked around the room and I was just like, "There's 100 people here who want food at 12 o'clock." I was just like, "What am I gonna do?"
Yeah.
I was just so panicked, and that's probably that was a massive challenge. But I went downstairs and talked to the restaurant downstairs, and I was like, "Can you do 100 covers like right this second?"
Yeah.
And the guy's, "I'll give it like 45 minutes, and then we'll do it." And I was like, "How much?" And the guy's like, "Call it a tenner a head." I was just like, "Take my money now." And that was a particularly bad one, but the band one was the worst.
Because they didn't cancel the band, did they? They just let them play while you were trying to roll dice.
Yeah. So the lead singer of the band came up to me. He was just like, "Oh, we need to do sound check." I was just like, "Well, that's an unequivocal no for me." There's still like an hour and a half left of this game here, and people need to talk to each other. So you can't do a sound check. That's ridiculous. And he was just like, "We were doing it," and I was just like, "Wait, I appreciate that you're going to have to do it, because I mean it's not your fault, it's not my fault that we're double booked. It's just is what it is."
Can you just turn it down slightly?
So they did the sound check, and then people started filling up. I mean, you were there, and people started filling up the room while people are still playing, and then all the players had to pack away the terrain, pack away the tables themselves. I was just like, "Oh my god!" And I thought it was going really well, so I got quite drunk. So I'm standing there just like, "Oh my god!" And I was that
still
drunk,
holding the beer, like, "Oh, this is the worst."
Yeah. And so like when everybody was packing away and stuff like that, I just bailed. It was a horrible thing to do, but I just like sat in the toilet for like 25 minutes while everybody got their stuff together and that. But that was particularly horrific. Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, on the Sunday, I'll legitimately tell you, because it's quite a candid moment. But I went outside during the first round, and I just had a little cry to myself.
Oh, bless you.
I was sitting outside, just rocking backwards and forwards in tears, because I was just like, because I do it because I care about people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I want people to have that, and like having it fuck up so badly like that, I was just like, "Oh, this is the worst thing that's ever happened."
Oh man! To be fair, mate, granted though, mate, it was still a good event. You know, it was still good. We still got Warhammer games in. It was still fun. I still enjoy myself.
Makes for a good tale as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good myth. It's a good tournament myth.
It's good to look back and just having a good laugh at it as well. It was a fuck up at the time, but it's out of your control at the end of the day. It's not like you pre-planned the
No.
You should have turned around and be like, "Oh, everyone, we have a live band as well."
Surprise!
Entertainment.
Yeah, they're going to be a little bit loud, so I'm sorry. But it's a live band.
50 quid asking them to just do bolt throw covers or something.
Mate, but no, again, good event though, very good. Oh man.
And you just touched on before that you've at the RTTs you do you like to play at them as well, which is how do you actually manage that? Is it just based on trust that the players are not going to be knobs?
Yeah, because I mean the RTTs are very much local area like yourselves, and like all the old school players are people I've known for like 8-9 years.
Yeah.
So you're just like, I appreciate that people maybe need a judge call or something like that, but you can. I think in this day and age with the game, you could ask the person next to you, and have a discussion. You don't need to call a judge.
No.
I don't think there's a lot of need for it, and I'm happy to judge. And I say it to people like, I come and see us if there's a problem and stuff like that. But I find locally, there's not much of a problem.
No. I think to be fair, that's the app as well that's available on the Warhammer app now. That's really useful.
That's great.
You can find that the rules and such so much easier on that.
Yeah,
it's like because obviously that wasn't around in the past, or
No,
was
exactly.
to some degree,
I did
WarPD and such. But this is so much easier.
So
now.
this is the thing in like 7th and 8th edition. I couldn't play it because I was like, I need to be there talking to people because like it was new to people. You know, like 7th edition was ridiculously complicated. 8th edition was brand new when it came in. You had to be really good at the rules. But I think now people who come to tournaments, even if they're new, they've got a good understanding because they don't want to walk through the door and just be like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's true. And I think to be fair, I think the app as well, like again, the app's really good, but even the rules themselves have not been dulled down, but made a lot simpler as well. In this 10th edition.
It does feel like an easier edition to pick up and play, yes. I'll still get at least one rule wrong every game.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, army rules are fine, but the core rules are very simple now.
Yeah.
Because even when you're doing like the your charges, and it's like, it used to be like, you moved your first model within an inch, but now it's the first model is base to base.
Yeah.
So that's just like, right, so I'll just bop that one there and then just push everything else. It's not as like tricky when you can, where it's a different game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it used to be an 8th where it felt like a different game because there'd be people who were just like, oh, well, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to put this guy on this.
A lot more junk.
A lot more nuance.
Yeah,
Totally.
I just don't understand how you can play an event and run an event.
Honestly, it's really easy.
How? Like, I wake up in the morning time nervous as fuck. It's like for this competition. I'm like reading my books, getting my notes. I'm
the slackest man. If you ever play as, you'll be devastated because people like really are really into it and they love their ITC points, but I've been playing for that long that I just don't care at all. I'm just like, that looks like 7 inches, and they're just like, you see people with mild autism, they're just ticking a little bit, just twitching, just like I'm just like, that's a 6, that's a 5 there, and I'll shoot them with them. They're just like, oh my god, how is this guy beating us?
Oh my god!
But that's the thing. So like, run events when I'm playing is fine for an RTT, but I don't think I do a GT. I think it's too much, too big. Yeah. When you've got like 60 people in a room, you need to. It means 50 or more people in a room. You've got to look after them, and you need to like. I don't know. It's just like when you're standing at a table, you're just like on your own in the little space. But so you need to like walk around. You need to talk to people. You need to make sure everybody's okay, sort of thing. Yeah.
I think it's nice to do as well because I quite like. I like talking to everyone at the event. I'd like to try and get around as many people as I can. And especially talking to the organizer is just good to kind of just see how it is. Right. Make sure if there's any feedback I would like to give, I typically do give it as well.
Yeah.
For your events, I don't have much feedback to be fair, which is very good.
Good. Yeah.
I just think
thought I was going to get a total grilling.
No, that's why you're here again.
Terrible.
I want to report a player. Get him seen you. Bar him. But no, very nice, very nice. One thing I was going to say, what was one of the funniest things that you've seen happen at one of your events?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I've got countless stories about funny things that have happened. I'll probably. At my events, or just at any event.
Oh, I guess any.
I'll start with
cut from both.
I'll start with warhammer, and that was particularly good because my as people will know, my morning routine before a tournament, right, is have a protein bar, like a grenade one, and a bottle of Pepsi because I'm like caffeine affects me like. I'm up here when I have any caffeine at all. So like a Pepsi is the limit. If I had a Monster, I'd be up for like 3 days straight. So had a Pepsi and a protein bar, right? And I pulled into the car park at the event, and there was a guy like right up the arse, like behind us like that. And I was just like, oh, I'm trying to get parked here, mate. And then I cocked my leg and farted and I shit myself. Pre-tournament.
Oh, no.
Pre-tournament.
In your car?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was possibly one of the worst experiences because this guy was like right up my arse, so I couldn't like just like pull over and sort myself out. I had to drive round the car park with this guy like that. So I was just like that on the chair. And it wasn't massive, but it was enough to rattle us, So I end up in the car park of Warhammer. Marcus Doyle, great event runner, and end up in the car park just stripping down to me boxers while this guy who was behind us was parking up. And it wasn't anybody from the tournament. It was just a guy. And like I walked into the event and I seen Matt Robinson, Robbo, he's a lovely lad. And I gans, Matt Robson, sorry, lovely lad. And he gans, oh yeah, right, I haven't seen you in a while. And he was just like, he gans, what's wrong? He gans, you look a bit rattled. I was just like, Robbo, I've just shit. He was just like, have you getting rid of your boxers? I was just like, yeah, they're in the car park. So that was particularly one of the worst, but there's so many more stories.
I wasn't
honestly.
expecting that one.
You should have given him the boxes as like the wooden spoon. That would have been an incentive not to come last. A
bit of motivation.
So that was probably one of the worst things that happened. Again, everybody talks about it. The LGT was particularly bad because of the terrain and how hot the room was and stuff. But it was great. And Zach always says he gets but I sold like 200 more tickets next time. I was just like,
yeah. Publicity then.
And the band thing was particularly bad. It's normally me, not other people. Like I've got tournament stories, and like I find like rattling through my head, and I'm just like, oh, what's happened to other people that's been particularly bad? I'm just like, nothing, it's just me.
Yeah, it's just gravitating towards you. Well, you had a little funny story, didn't you, that happened at one of your events? The Northeast
Open when the table fell. Yeah.
I remember
when I was playing Paul, and he walked around the table turn 2. He'd been a little bit fractious about and he put his hands on it and it just went.
I remember that because I was just like, oh.
that room went silent. It was just like, oh.
Everybody was just like, oh my god.
Yeah. I walked over and you're just like picking up your models, because obviously you're obviously playing what it was Necrons at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yours, if yours get destroyed, a bit awkward. The opponent was the Orcs, so he was like, I don't give a crap. This is fine. Just more orky.
It's a super weird one because like I think a lot of people in the room thought it was like a kickoff, like a table flip or something. And it was just like I seen it. I was just like, oh my god, it's kicking off down there. Ran over and was like, no, we're fine. We're just picking it up. It's okay.
Tears coming down. We're golden.
Well, to be fair play to him though, like we got sorted out. We had a cup of tea and then we finished the game. It was the last game of the day, and we both were like, "Look, we're here. We might as well, we're there to roll dice. Let's finish it."
Was it day one as well?
No, it was the last game of the
last game of the tournament.
Last game of the tournament on the Sunday. Nearly got through the whole thing.
Nearly. Yeah. I think since then I do have this like worry. Like whenever I go now, I'm just
checking the table.
I just check everything. I'm scarred by it. I don't want it to happen to me.
I'd have a nightmare if that happened to me. I mean, I don't take care of my models at all.
I'm
terrible. I just chuck them in a box. I don't care. And but if that happened, I'd feel bad for the other person because I'd just be like, oh mate,
because it was like round 2 or something, wasn't it? So like all your units were like.
Yeah,
because it wasn't just one side of. It wasn't just all you. It was a mixture of both opponents.
Not to the point when it's just like 3 units left on the board. It was literally whole armies. Just like, oh no.
I think it was because only one, like the table legs at one end went. So it was like. It was literally like watching it in slow motion. It just all went like.
So all slide down.
It's because you heard the crash, then you heard the.
Oh, that's so bad, man.
It didn't spoil it. I really enjoyed that event. It was good fun.
Happy days, mate. Happy days. Up next for yourself?
Yeah, we're talking about funny stories and that. But and you were saying, I think up here, particularly your events are quite self-policing. Like you don't get a lot of sharp play or cheats. But how do you deal with them if you do, or have you dealt with them if you do get them?
Oh, wait, I'm quite a stalwart about cheats and people who take a lot of time during their games and people who time out, etc., etc. And people I've been to countless events and I've watched people legitimately bully somebody into a win. Like timed out and then convince the other person that, oh well,
this is what would have happened.
This is what would have happened, and we should call it a draw because I could have done this, this, and this. Or the guy like, oh well, if I hadn't timed out, I was letting you roll dice on my turn, so like I should take some time off you and stuff like that. And it's just like the clock is there for a reason. And if you time out, you time out. But I've seen a lot of that, and I generally just call people out for it all the time.
Good.
I'm happy just to walk over to a table and say, mate, this is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Because I've seen so many times that, again, like I've been cheated myself, and it's like, oh mate, if it's this important to you, then just have the win. I've walked away from the table like that. But when I'm running events and when I'm judging them, I generally try and be
as fair, but like
but I'd say like aggressive about it.
Yeah,
because I'm just not having it. It's not on.
It's your event at the end of the day.
I think that zero tolerance policy probably has helped build that kind of community that we've got for tournaments up here.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the casual ones and the Northeast Open, the GTs, we've never, they attract a good crowd of people, and don't think we get those kind of people don't seem to come.
No, they don't. Events. They don't, because I know that's the thing. I've been to countless events, and I know who the cheaters are in the community. Yeah. There's a lot of them, which is terrifying. Yeah, really, because a lot
it's
of
a shame as well. Like,
it is,
what's the point? Like,
but I mean, it's hard to be consistent without cheating. That's the thing, because it's a dice game.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So you find that. I'm not gonna name names, but you find that a lot of really, really good players who are very consistent, and you'll probably know a couple of them. They do like push the
boundaries a bit.
Yeah. Like, and it's easy. The problem is it's what upsets us about, and why I try and be like zero tolerance, because it's really easy to cheat at the game.
Yeah.
Because if you get somebody who's you turn up the table, right, and you get somebody who's a little bit awkward. Maybe they've got a little bit of autism, and they're like, maybe it's their first time playing your army. They don't know what's happening. It's very easy for somebody like myself, who's a confident guy, to just stand there and tell them what I'm doing and say like, no, that's a fail. Take all that whole unit off. Right, next you're taking that off. Next I'm doing this, and it's 8d6 shots, and I just like, is it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is 8d6 shots.
If you just generate that confidence in when you're discussing your own rules, why would I question it?
Exactly.
I mean, I would say I'm an okay player. I wouldn't say I know everyone's army, but if someone says to me, "Oh, this unit does this," I'm not going to tell them to read every single rule.
No. I mean,
so like, if it sounds about right, I'm kind of like, oh well, no worries at all. And I only really look up at the rules if it's like a big decision maker. I think in one of my games recently, someone threw a grenade at my unit, and they rolled 8 dice. Yeah. And I was like, oh, 8 dice. Like, oh, no worries.
It doesn't sound right, that.
but like, I let him roll, and it killed my Catan. And I was like, it was still his turn. I was like, I'll just have a little check. And I don't think he was cheating or anything like that. No. I was like, I'll just have a little check. And I checked, and it's actually 6 dice. And I was like, oh, actually, mate, sorry. Like, it's actually 6. Like, can we redo that? Because
because it matters.
It's a big swing, basically. And he was happy enough to do it, which was great. But I think it's that confidence of challenging, but also confidence of like knowing your own rules properly. And stressing it out.
That's the thing, is it's impossible to know every faction's rules, but it's I think the more you play, the more you get a kind of gut feel for these things. Like that
it sounds too strong. Because the game's balanced in such a way, because in like 7th and 8th edition, if somebody said, I'm rolling 40d6 mate, and it's just gonna instant kill that, and you're just like, it is fair enough. But now like the balance is in such a way where you can just be like, if somebody says like, oh, it's 10d6, you're just like, is it?
Yeah.
That sounds mental.
Sounds a bit crazy compared to everybody else. No, that's actually a really good shout.
From a tournament organiser's perspective, and certainly from tournament players, it feels like the game is in a good place at the moment in terms of balance. Right. That, like, you can. You feel like there was ways to build lists up, and even in 9th you could build lists to alpha strike somebody, and it was a lot of it was done in the list building and deployment. I know it still is, but they've leveled the playing field a bit more at the moment.
I find that organisers have upped their game as well, because like myself, Zach, Marcus, like everybody who runs tournaments in the UK basically have made boards, maps, and terrain to affect the game and make it playable. Because like in like 8th edition, it was literally like frontline your army, and then I'm going to table you turn 1. It's literally on the dice roll of turn 1. And so we've upped our game terrain wise and mission wise to be able to stop that from happening as well. Good. So it's like little background stuff like that you don't really see. Like the edition's good, but there's other things going on, like other people who are like, oh, well, this doesn't work because of this, and this needs to go here because of that line, that lane, and it's like...
And that's, we're quite fortunate, like you mentioned, Zach at LGT and a couple of other people, but with them and you, there's a lot of experience there now. Like in terms of organising, these guys have been doing it. You have been doing it for years.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
so we know that's the thing. We know how to make the game fair. Yeah. Basically, because remember like back in the day, 7th edition, it was just Reese and Frankie from the Frontline.
Oh yeah.
And they made their own mission set. Because 7th was so bad. They were just like, all right, so it was hold one, hold more, kill one, kill more. And then you take your secondaries. They started the secondary game sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and they had like recon being 4 quarters and you did that every turn. And like they like changed the game so much that everybody else had to be like, we need to do that now.
Because it's better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like that. Because I mean, even 9th for Necrons, it was literally like, sit on this objective and you're gaining 4 points
during Nephilim.
It was just like it was good for Necron players, but at the same time, now that I look back, it's like that was boring.
Yeah,
like all I'd done was just moved up and sat there and was like, all right, I just need to survive and kill.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, but now in 10th, it's like, I've got to get in that corner.
Yeah,
I've got to play the game.
Yeah. Oh God,
why can I not just walk 6 inches and then just stand there and win? It's ridiculous.
Win. This is outrageous.
The worst game I've played in my life.
don't even want to roll dice, man.
Yeah. But no, speaking about like terrain and whatnot, like how do you pick when you're prepping a tournament? How do you pick mission packs or like terrain pieces?
I'm going to be brutally honest here. I do not do that. I have no idea. I get there's the gaming group from Clubhouse.
Yes.
Game, and they do a 40k night on the Monday.
Nice.
And I just get the lads from there to build the maps and do the missions because like when 10 first dropped, I literally did not have a clue how to play the game at all. So I was just like, I read the mission, I was just like, I don't know that. I was like, but I still want to run events, so I just texted loads of people. I was just like, what's the mission? What do I do? And they were just like, oh well, do this mission with Chill and Rain, and then do your terrain like this. And I was just like, perfect.
Yeah. Thank you.
Pressure off. Because I'm really slack. I'm slack when I play, and I'm slack on the other side of things. So like I don't really like get into like the nuances of the mission. Like see people come up with us and they're just like, oh, if you did like this mission and it had this and this and this, it would be so much better if you just moved this ruin here. I'm just like, I really don't care. just play the game and go home with it.
It's funny how like chill you are about it, but the events are still really good. It's really nice to see. I mean,
I do actually care.
No, of course.
I care about all my players and stuff. Like I love everybody, and I think it's great.
But at the same time, it's like you've just got to shred up. Like, oh yeah, is that the one thing I do have to say there was no deploy servo skills. Oh my goodness.
We played that a couple of times in like casual tournaments at one of our local clubs. That one is very much still first turn dependent, I think. Like
although I do find it fun, but again, a competitive. Like I remember it was my friend Lewis. He brought Tyranids. He had like a horde army, so he put obviously all of his guys on top of the objective, and he was like, "Oh, right now I need to move the objective." So he was like shoving off all of his guys. He's like, "This sucks," and moved it and put them all back down.
Do we do that one or not?
I'm just saying, don't.
All right,
just don't. These are my recommendation.
We do the easiest ones possible.
I love it. Yeah, Chilling Rain. No need anything fancy for that one. No, I absolutely love it.
I quite like where I think it's the 3rd mission that we do, and it's you've got 5 objectives in like a dice sort of shape of a 5, and then you take the middle one out. And I was I played it against Jake, and I was just like, oh, this is weird. I quite like it though.
Weird in a good way, because it totally changes the game.
You've got to really think about it. And I mean, he was playing 0 variance knights, so he just absolutely dicked us. But I was still just like, oh, now I kind of gone middle. I've got to like spread things out and stuff like that. I was like, actually, because he picked that mission as well, so that's probably why he dicked us. But I was like, when I played it, I was like, oh, it's actually really clever, this, like taking the middle one out.
But what's good about it as well, though, is that when you take the objective out from the middle, everyone thinks, oh, well, I don't need to put units towards the middle. But then you'll pull like area denial. You're like, oh, I actually do need to be there. And it's like, oh, no. So totally. It is a nice little one to have.
It is clever.
I do enjoy it.
I'm not taking any credit for that. It was
Jake.
It was Jake.
I love it. Next one for you?
Yeah, speaking about getting dicked, have you ever looked at someone's list when they've submitted it for a tournament and just gone, fuck that guy?
Jake normally. Zero variance knights are the current bugbear.
Yeah.
But you used to get It was in 7th. It was Gladius. I hate that. Did you play a 7th?
Yeah, I played a bit of 7th.
Yeah. All right. So Gladius, the Gladius Strike Force, right, was Marines.
Right.
And if you took a dedicated transport, you got them for free.
Right.
Anything. So Razorbacks.
No.
What on earth?
Land Raiders.
Just including the
Rhinos. Yeah. So basically somebody was across the table and they took a dedicated transport for every unit.
Yeah.
Because you could.
Oh, why not?
And you got an extra 2,000 points. Dark Angels Razorbacks, and they used to castle them, and that was a character. It's so long ago that I can't remember, but it was reroll hits and wounds, and they just had 20 Razorbacks just standing in a line like that with 5 Marines in each. And it was just amazing. This is great. Loving it.
Love the game. It's so funny.
The problem was I was playing demons at the time, and demons were pretty hardcore at the time, but they didn't have much movement. And as soon as you got out there, it was just right, you're dead, mate. I was like, great.
Well, because what terrain was like in 7th as well, you couldn't.
So bad.
It was just there was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide.
Nah. Same used to get Element Games, and that was the high end of tournaments at the time. And you got into a tournament in 7th edition, it would just be a glass and then a bean can there, and just be like, oh well, which side do you want? Again, we're the one with the glass and the bean can. You're just standing in the open. Just
oh no!
Fantastic. That was it. 7th edition was tournaments were a lot of the first turn thing. Yeah. You rolled that dice. And if you won, you were just right, your table.
Yeah, well played.
Really? I feel like I'm taking 10 for granted now. Sometimes I see terrain, I'm like, oh god, I need a bit more terrain.
No, honestly, it was horrible.
GW at Warhammer Fest was some complaints on day one about the terrain there wasn't quite enough terrain. It was a fair comment, but I do think when you think back 5 or 6 years to what it used to be like.
Yeah.
Oh
no,
don't know they're born.
We're really spoiled. We're really spoiled, especially tournaments like mine and Zach's. Zach's had his problems, but he still puts out a consistent tournament with good terrain. And if you went back to 7th, even the start of 8th, that was nothing like that.
Really?
Nah. You used to go to Element, and they've got all the terrain on the walls around it, and people first lift if they got there early. They used to go and grab as much terrain as possible, just put it on their tables. You had one table with 80 ruins on there, and everything else was just bare.
When did the plastic floor bits come in? Actually, when you place the terrain on those little plastic mats.
Oh, that was 9th straight up. Yeah.
See, I quite like those. It makes it a lot easier, just because obviously some rooms and buildings might be slightly broken.
We were going to do it, and we're going to cut up some mats and just have squares of just mat.
Sure. Yeah.
And just put it underneath, so you've got a clear idea. But I find as now that I've played more at 10th, I find now that everything's got cover anyway. Unless it's super in the open.
Yeah, it's very rare to not get cover now.
That's what I mean.
It's because it's any part of the model, isn't it? The big
monsters. So if you know what you're doing, you just put one guy round the corner a little bit, and it's just everything gets a cover save.
Tyrannid Exocrine with the tip of its tail behind the building.
Got cover saves.
Cover save, yeah.
Which I like though, because it makes that difference of oh well, there's no are you in cover or you're not? It's no, I am.
I think my problem is with it that they might as well just either get rid of it altogether or just say everything gets a cover save all the time.
Yes.
Right.
Because it's quite redundant, because the only time that I've ever been affected by it is when I played on a table that wasn't as good as my terrain or as good as LGT terrain. It's just when it's a bit more probably Warhammer World. I don't know how good that terrain is these days.
I've not been before.
All right. But they used to be terrible.
Right.
And if they did the same terrain in 10th edition, I would just be like, oh, well, then we can talk about cover saves. But when you've got terrain like mine and LGT, you're just
it's default almost.
Exactly. You're just getting a cover save full stop.
Yeah.
So
unless you really stupidly play.
Move
it out of the way completely.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I like that. Very nice. What about people who are maybe I don't know, maybe new to Warhammer? How would you kind of entice them into coming to more tournaments?
I think you need to get off the internet.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, that's not a bad shout.
Because the Reddit and stuff like that, and the way people talk about tournaments, they make it sound like we're a group of absolute bastards,
sweaty nerds.
And we'll just stand there. We'll not talk to you. We'll not get you involved in the game, and we'll just dick on you. And you'll bring your fluffy list, and you'll be taking it off the table turn one.
Yeah.
And while that may be the case, it's nice to play at that high level, because you can play fluffy lists all you want, and it's quite fun, but everybody likes to be a little bit competitive. You want to see what you're like against people.
Yeah.
But I would say to people who don't come to tournaments, just don't be scared, because like everybody's really nice.
Yeah.
And like you might get drawn against one of the best players in the world. Like I've played all of them. Every player who's top 10 IDC, I've played them countless times, right? And they're really nice guys. You know, like they want to win, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But you come in, you want to win as well.
Yeah.
So you've got to be like, I don't know, don't be scared that we're all like super sweaty and we're gonna stand there and not interact with you and we're just gonna roll dice and tell you to take stuff off. It's not what tournaments are, you know. You find your people.
Yeah.
And I found my people massively. Like my friend who was here last night, he drove from Hull just to see us, you know, and like we'll play Dark Heresy, we do D&D, we'll have a laugh, you know. I play Magic with my business partner Jay, and you know, you meet like some of your best friends through it. So I would say go to tournaments, because if you're stuck in a gaming group with like 5 or 6 people, you're never gonna find your people.
That's true,
because it could be anybody.
No, I think you're absolutely right. Because I mean, we've got a very similar story. You know, we've never met before in our life, and then we only met because we're doing a very local tournament around ours. And then like a few months later, you were like, "Oh, you want to do a podcast?" And I'm like, "Me? No." But no, I think you're right though. And I get staying off. I mean, we always joke about it. Whenever we lose a game, we're like, "I'm going on Reddit." I'm gonna.
This guy was a dick.
The biggest cheater I've ever seen in my life. But no, I think you're right. I think just kind of go there, have fun. You know, don't go there to win. Just go. There,
you've got to temper your expectations as well, because I went to LGT as my first big one after coming third in the local one, and I was just like, I could probably win this.
It's easy. This.
And then literally first guy I played just absolutely smashed us with dark. And I was just like, I'm not as good as I thought I was. So you got to lower your expectations and just go to say, I want to meet people and have fun.
Good.
Rather than saying like, oh, I want to. You can compete. You still can. Look at that guy.
Your enjoyment can't be based on you winning. It's got to be. You've got to go and enjoy it first, and then
you got to enjoy for what it is. Yeah. I know I had that. I don't know. Is he one of your lads? I'm not sure. Did you see the? I'm forgetting his name, when he came to the last tournament, young lad, and he got me first tournament, then he did 100, and then 89. And he got one of ours. We're not that good. You know, it was the guy who won, Adam. I forget his name. Adam Owens.
Yeah.
He beat him in the last game, but the young lad still scored 89 or something like that. He's 100, 89. I was just like, my God. So,
first tournament?
I was talking to him. He's like, oh, it's my first tournament. I was just like, what? Smashing it.
Get the salt water. I want to check this out.
Stand over his too. Like, what are you doing? Jealous?
What's that again? I know one of my last games I played in your tournament, I remember I had like one of the Catans in there. Someone comes up and was like, another Necron player. And he's like, oh, is that 3D printed? I was like, oh yeah, it is. He goes, oh, where'd you get it from? And he started some questions. Anyway, he messed around on Facebook later and I print him free. Because I destroyed him so much. He was like, I want those Catans.
But that's the thing. They're the sort of stories when you meet people. Like, I wouldn't be on this podcast if it wasn't for you coming to my events, stuff like that. And again, getting back to the original point, I would say to people, just don't be scared. It's like, it's a really nice thing. It's a nice community. And like, you get people who are a bit of a dickhead. You get people who are different to you because people are different. But you've just got to try it. If you want to play more and you want to be part of the hobby, I think the competitive scene is the way forward.
Happy days.
Very nice. And I think, as I said earlier, I think the way you've gone about building that community, it's a nice, you know, like we said, that's why we come to your events, because they are different and they're good. They're really good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I think we've been in the last 5?
6.
Came. Well, so I've got to mention it's on the table. Came third in one of them. I've got
He's been waiting for one of us.
No one's asked me. No one's asked me.
Trying to naturally get there. No, I've got the bottle.
I'm just going to shove it in. Woo!
That was a January. So you should mention this. So these are you do a GT, at least one GT a year in the North East Open.
Yes.
Then your other events, you're literally organising a piss up in a brewery.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Which they're called To the Brink, which are at the
Brinkburn.
Brinkburn Brewery in Oosburn.
It is in Oos,
in Newcastle. And those are pretty much every month this year. Is that right?
We've dropped August and October because we're trying to get a GT going.
Brilliant.
So we used to do SummerSlam back in the day, and we used to give it a wrestling belt as the prize.
Oh, class, yeah.
I think Robbo's still got it, actually. I said to him again, "Oh, can I have it back? Because I want to give it out for the next prize." And he was just like, "Nah." So I've been just sitting on the couch just wearing it.
Bollock naked. Just like,
So we used to try and do like 2 GTs, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And it's and venues are just getting so much more expensive. So we try for like 1 GT. Because like the Northeast Open, I'll be very candid about it. We don't make any money off that at all.
Yeah.
We'll also make is money off the beer.
Yeah.
And that's why we're like walking around shoving it in people's faces. Because
that's why I invite all the Scottish contingent.
Yeah, but like the food, the venue, the microphone, the whole show and stuff like that is taken up in the ticket cost, and then that's it. So we make nothing, but it's good to do because it's like it's amazing. It's a really good fun.
It is really good.
The Northeast needs it. We need at least a GT a year.
Yeah, 100%. Because like people will travel for it and they love it, and all the local lads are dying for that sort of thing. Because I've travelled countless events and it's a nightmare. Because like you're driving down to like Nottingham and you pay for digs and then you pay for all your food all weekend, a couple of beers and stuff like that, and it's just
sharp adds up, doesn't it?
It does massively, especially now because hotels. When I used to go to Element Games, hotels used to be like 30 quid then, and you'd be like, it was a shithole.
Yeah,
but it's a bed, And now it's like the same shithole's like 70, 80 quid, and I'm just like, I cannot accommodate that for the week, you know.
Because it's not even like a better place to stay or anything like that.
It's same. It's just prices have just went through the roof for everything. So you do appreciate people who travel for them, because there's lads I know who will do like 7 or 8 a year, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, how do you
find the time?
Yeah.
Where's the money for that? You know? Don't you buy warhammer? It's expensive.
Exactly. Especially you playing the card games as well. It's just like even more expensive.
Honestly, I get told off all the time for how many hobbies I've got, because they're not just like the odd hobbies here and there. They're all expensive hobbies.
Yeah, same.
Magic Gathering, Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
D&D. That's expensive as well.
I'm exactly the same. And just like I'm the same. I like cars. I like football. So I pay like 200 quid for my football boots like every couple of months. Just because I'm just like, oh, I could be. Them boots, they look good, mind. They'll probably make us better. Then you put them on and you say, nah, they didn't. Another pair, let's go.
Wrong size.
I do that with Warhammer though. I get beaten, I'm like, right, I need 3 Catan. It doesn't make any difference.
No, I'm the same. Tim, do you fancy... you fancy painting us 3 loads of skulls? And he's just like, yeah, how much? And 100 quid each. I'm just like, 300 quid. Do you bother there? Play them. I'm just like, oh, that's garbage.
I've done that. I mean, I've bought like 3 for armies, and they're all boxed still behind me. I'm just like, because I played them once, I got destroyed, and I was like, you know what? Fuck those guys. I'm gonna play them. Bought them, not painted them, not painted them. I'm just like, oh god.
Come out of the box one day.
Yeah. It was when I played that free monolith list. Just the big guns just destroyed us, and I was just like, I want to play them better.
Honestly, the 0 variance Imperial Knights is the way forward. Jake just absolutely dictated the whole game. That's what you need to do with them 0 variance Knights. You know that it's the reroll hit and reroll wound.
Right.
And it was just like with the melter guys. It was just like 2 shots, 1 misses, reroll, 2 wounds, 1 misses, reroll. It's just and like he killed Magnus with 1 melter.
Ooh.
And I was just like, oh my god.
That is horrible. There's nothing like losing like a big model like Magnus. Like, and you're like, what's the point?
Again, that's the only thing that can win us this game. Again, so it tilted us massively. We played loads, but I was just standing there.
It was just like your own event, was it?
Yeah, I was at last game.
You're bored.
last game, I was on 2 wins, and then I drew against Jake, and I was just like,
you got 2 good wins. You scored well in them both, and then I seen this because I was following it on BCP, and then the last game you scored like 40 points or something.
It was 38.
I was trying to be nice.
Trying to round it up.
did. He just absolutely smashed us. I was just like, oh my God. And like turn 2, I literally, as soon as he killed Magnus, I was like, Jake, you have tilted me so bad. He goes, yeah, I can tell. I was just like, you stop talking. I was just like,
I love how he relishes it as well. He's like, yeah.
Oh, he loves it. Absolute twat.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So there you have it. Majority T3. Best place to find you guys is on Facebook, isn't it?
Yeah, it's how we run our events. I try and update Instagram, but I can't be arsed.
Like your honesty.
So yeah, if you want to come up to the Northeast for a fantastic GT, keep an eye out on their page, and also monthly RTTs.
Yeah.
Pretty much like 3rd, 4th Sunday of the month, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, come and we'll be there as well. So that's an even bigger incentive. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And we'll before you go, I want to answer those would I lie to you questions. So let's find out the truth about our 3 Ricky stories. Yeah. Number 1, did you pose nude to relaunch the Northeast Open?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
I seen the picture as I was prepping. I was like, what is this? What's his photo doing?
I'm not going to lie here, and this don't take this the wrong way, but I was in 2 minds about whether I was going to go to Northeast Open, and on my Facebook feed, an image of naked Ricky popped up with the Leviathan box covering his modesty. And I was like, that's the event for me.
I'm in. Let's do it.
But if you did pose naked, what I want to know is, did you rub your balls on that box before you gave it away?
No, I had boxer shorts underneath. I was pulling my pants up.
I just imagine there's someone watching the podcast that won that box going and picking it up now, going, yeah,
fusty.
Delicious. But that's I thought it was a brilliant publicity. Like,
yeah, it was my mate who convinced that he doesn't even play 40k, and I gans, I need to like push this box set, and I did one where I was licking it, and he gans, you know what you should do? He gans, drop your strides, take your strides off, and he gans, just pull your boxes up and make it look like it's just covering your bollocks. So I was just like, I go on, and we're a bit drunk after the match. I was just like.
It's a class picture.
That is good.
So that's one of them's true. The second one was that you used to pretend to be a businessman to rent tournament venues.
That's true as well. It's a bit of a trick question because they're all true.
So how did this come about?
Yeah. I did when we first did the first Summer Slam that we did, right, was in it was in office space, and I rented it off them, and they were just like, "Oh, what you need it for?" And I was just like a power meeting. I really need to connect with these people. There's about 50 of them. I'm going to put on like a presentation and stuff like that. And they were just like, "Oh, it's fantastic!" So I literally put a suit on to go to the meeting with them because like I look like a complete scruff normally, like tracky bottoms and stuff. So I put on a full suit. Went up and I was like, yeah. Like,
business.
Let me see the venue. I think it looks great. Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, I can fit another 50 people in here. It's fantastic. And then she give us the price, and it was just like, I think it was £100 for the venue.
No.
Honestly, I was just like,
get it.
Yes. And then when we started running it, the security man came in. He was just like, "What the fuck?"
It's too late now.
I'm done now. And you do realize I have to sweep up after this, and there was just cans everywhere. And I was just like, "Sorry, mate."
I love it.
Fantastic. And the last one, his mum helps him run his events. This is also true, isn't it?
Yeah, she comes down, talks to everybody. And really embarrasses us. She talked to Jim Martin. He's one of the Dutch lads, Martin Versteeg.
All right. Yeah.
And he's called Jim Martin because his name is spelled Martin, but it's after the T, there's a J.
Yes.
And he was talking to a girl at the... it was ETC, the European Team Tournament.
Aye.
He was talking to a lass, and she goes, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Martin with a J." And she went, "Jamartin." It's one of my favourite stories.
He's been called Jamartin ever since.
He has, yeah. And me mum was literally talking to him during his whole game, and she was just like, are you from the Netherlands? That's amazing that you've come here for Ricky's event." And Martin's like, Yes, I enjoy it. I like Ricky. And she, "Oh, you love me, son. That's so nice." I was just like, "Mother, stop."
Yes. Oh, it's so good, mate.
It's
been absolutely lovely having you, mate.
It's been great. I've really enjoyed it. It's been a good morning for us, to be honest.
Thank you so much for coming on. A reminder again, Majority T3, go and follow them on Facebook and get yourself to some of the events. Also, very quickly, shout out to Gambit Gaming, who are sponsoring this podcast, and you can get T-shirts from there. website with a code Warhammer Pod. You get 10% off, I believe, don't you?
Spot on. Absolutely right. Yes.
Nice.
I'll have
So
the
go and
links
check
in
that
there.
out as well. I've got some great t-shirts in there.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.